Coming up on today's edition of Inside the Game, we talk about the NISA Pro Cup coming up next week. It's about to be busy, and we have a lot of competitive squads ready to go head-to-head. We also talk about the Tigers back in action tonight after leaving Seattle with the series tied at 1. And then we transition into our American Roundup. We take a look at how American soccer players are faring over in Europe and maybe a little conspiracy going on inside the clubhouse for the USMNT. Then we talk about the USA U20s. They lost their last time out to South Africa, but after their big win against France, they have a lot of getting ready to do before they take off against another top country in Italy. We also have our question of the day, World Cup ticket prices. How much are you willing to spend to go see a World Cup game in 2026? All that and more coming up next on Inside the Game.
Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Episode 174, Inside the Game is live. Hello, everybody, and welcome in National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. No Jonathan Turner here today. He's over at Oakland University. Ryan, we used to, when we were new to this podcast, what we would do for our open is we would find the number that we're opening with, right? And this is before we got up to about 100, because once we got to that point, we stopped with all this. And we would find what player or what was significant about that number, who wore that number, right? So obviously you get to the important ones, you get to the notable ones somewhere along the line. We got 174 episodes, so there's no real player out there that wears 174 anymore. But here, I'll give you something, because I can tie this in. In the context of angel numbers or spiritual interpretation, 174 is seen as a message to embrace new beginnings, trust the process, and manifest dreams, drawing on the symbolic meanings of the numbers 1, 7, and 4. And we're going to be talking about that today because I think we found the new great one in American soccer. At least that's my personal opinion. I don't know where you fall on all that. But before we get to that part of the conversation, let's talk a little bit about what we got going on here tonight. Tigers back in action. Series tied at 1 with the Seattle Mariners. Unfortunately, did not get the win with Tarik Skubal on the mound, but the one thing you're looking for in a road series in the playoffs is you at least want to come away with a 1-1 split, because then you take back home field advantage. So the Tigers, at the very least, have that working for them. Jack Flaherty on the mound tonight. We'll see what happens. I think it's such a toss-up against Seattle because of how good they are in certain situations. They are a very good hitting team. Now, obviously, the Tigers were able to keep them in check with the pitching staff the first two games. It's playoff baseball, though. We'll see how the home crowd affects them. Again, Jack Flaherty's been so up and down, but in the postseason, he's been good. I mean, an ERA below 2 right now. I mean, he's been okay in the postseason. So where do you fall on all that, Mr. Ryan Glinsky?
First off, I didn't know any of the 174 meant some spiritual meaning. I didn't know that had any spiritual meaning at all, but I do like the reasoning behind it. I do like the meaning behind the numbers 1, 7, and 4. But for the Tigers, well, first off, hopefully it doesn't get delayed. I just looked out the studio windows. It was downpouring earlier. I could barely even hear Nate through my headset of how hard the rain was pouring. So I hope that it's not a delay, because I think any delay can, benefit the Mariners. I think, in my personal opinion, being the road team and adjusting more to the time zone and the time difference, because I always believe that does play a factor. It's affected me before. But for the Tigers, can you just score with runners in scoring position, man? Like, is it that hard? Like, this team makes zero sense to me at all. Like, they're the best team in baseball for a large majority of the season. Then they blow a 15.5 game lead to the Guardians, who you eventually then beat in the wild card in 3 games. Skubal throws 14 strikeouts, and then you have 1 inning of craziness where you score 5 runs. Then you go on the road to the Mariners, give up bombs, And then McKinstry, 43 mile per hour exit velo off the bat, scores the game-winning run. Then you win the game one, and then you get Scuba on the mound, like your ace, and you don't win. Doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, honestly, if the Tigers go out and win like 1-0, would not be surprised. But if the Tigers go out there and win like 12-10, wouldn't be surprised by that either. Like, nothing about this team makes sense to me at all, and I don't understand it. Nate, maybe you can help me.
Isn't that the beauty of it too? Like, you have no idea, and they just find a way to win games. I mean, I realize I kind of bashed on AJ Hinch in that second game against Cleveland. I thought he managed it into the ground,
Yeah.
but truthfully,
A lot of people
you can't do that, right? Because the guy has manufactured and engineered something, an ALDS team, really out of nothing. And I don't mean this to bash on them, because again, a lot of those guys have come through West Michigan, but this is not a roster or a team that is in any way, when you look at it, you go, oh yeah, that's an ALDS team. That's a team that can make a run towards a World Series. But the reality is that AJ Hinch has kind of manufactured that. But you're right. That is going to be the narrative that follows them into the offseason, is they just can't hit in big time spots. And I think it's amazing. The pitching staff is really, and I realize they've had their ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster, but that they're the glue that's kept all of this together. If none of this goes, if they're not able to just stay above water, essentially. So we'll see what happens. Again, that one coming up, 4:00 tonight against Seattle?
As of right now, yes.
I believe that's what it is. So giving you a look at the weather forecast, just because Ryan brought it up, we are at 70% now. We are at 40% at 1, 70% at 2 in Detroit, Michigan, and then 50% from 3 until I believe 6 o'clock.
So maybe it's a late game instead. Maybe they just delayed a couple hours. I guess that's
maybe it's just a messy rain game. How about that?
That would suit the Tigers. That would suit the Tigers. 100%.
Might actually help out in the long run. But coming up next week, I know you and JT did the selection show. Great job on that, by the way. They haven't gotten back to that about but whether or not they want us to do the World Cup draw, I'm sure we're in the running for it. I'm sure they'll probably consider us in the long run. Not gonna lie, that'd be good humor to see you struggling to open the envelopes in the middle of the World Cup draw.
Ooh.
That
billions of people see me mess up. That'd be great.
That would be great. Everybody loves to hate the National Soccer Network. What are these guys doing? But anyways, that one coming up next week, and it's going to be busy. So just to recap for you guys, we won't be doing any live shows next week. I believe we're still talking about maybe airing some interviews that we've done because, as you know, Ryan, we've been on a coaches tour during the regular season here, so we're looking at doing a couple of reruns there. But NISA Cup's about to get busy.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know we were tossing over. But yeah, we will be busy all of next week and a little bit of the week after just because of the finals. But here's just a look at the schedule. On Monday, October 13th, we have 4 games that day. And then Wednesday, same thing, 4 more games, all same time as well, 9 a.m., 2 12 p.m. games, 1 indoor, 1 outdoor, and then 2:30 also indoor as well. And then Friday of Friday next week as well. There it is again. I believe the dates are wrong. That should be the 17th. So that should be Friday, October 17th, not Friday, October 15th. But yeah, we will be super busy with that all week long next week, and you can catch that all right here. And I believe that they'll all the games will re-air in prime time as well. So you get them one time live, and then you get them on demand, I guess, is what it would be called at that point. I don't know the exact terminology, but lots of soccer.
The pathway to pro, and we're going to see a lot of good players and a lot of good teams involved in all that. So, yeah, you can find all that on the National Soccer Network. To those of you who are joining us here today, first of all, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you follow us on social media. All of our shorts up on all your social media pages. Just find us at the National Soccer Network. Well, coming up next on Inside the Game, we take a look at our American Roundup. How is everyone doing across the pond? We have a few different players we're going to focus on. Again, we talked about manifesting dreams in the future. We might have found the future for this U.S. men's national team, and he's only 18 years old. We're going to talk about that. We also got maybe a little conspiracy going on inside the clubhouse. I don't know. People are talking. All that's coming up next in segment 2. You're watching Inside the Game.
An all-out battle of skill, passion, and determination. The NISA Pro Cup, presented by the National Soccer Network. The stage is set. 10 teams, 8 days, 1 trophy, 3 moment, exclusively on Roku TV. It all kicks off October 13th on the National Soccer Network.
And we're back in the saddle, episode 174, Inside the Game. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky on this rainy day in the state of Michigan. Again, we got postseason baseball coming up tonight. A lot of different things going on. We are getting closer and closer to the 2026 World Cup. We got another international window coming up very shortly here. And I know that normally takes up a lot of air.
They play Friday.
They play Friday, yeah. So literally, really quickly here. And we obviously know what the roster is going into that game. And, normally it takes up the majority of our time talking about the U.S. men's national team. But the fun thing about leading up to the World Cup and what we've been doing the last couple of weeks is we get the chance to kind of step out and see what they're doing across the pond. So I'll leave it up to you, Ryan. What is our American roundup for this week? Who are we looking at?
Well, yeah, it's not as exciting as weeks prior just because Christian Pulisic did not score a goal or an assist in a game, which was weird. But yeah, American abroad roundup starting off with Mr. Christian Pulisic. 74 minutes played. He actually missed a PK against Juventus, and you see there's him and Weston McKennie playing against each other. A 6.2 out of 10 FOTMOB rating. That's what all these ratings are coming from. Weston McKennie also 90 minutes in that game, 6.7 out of 10. Now that is a great FOTMOB rating, and if that's what you score every single game, I mean, give him the greatest player of all time, 6.7. That's amazing. And then Sergiño Dest, which you'll hear about a little bit later as the show goes on, 73 minutes, won 43% of his duels, 7.2 out of 10 for PSV. And then Noah Kai Banks, the 18-year-old, 84 minutes played for Augsburg, scored his first goal in his first start for the Bundesliga side, 7.8 out of 10. And Tim Weah, 80 minutes at right wing back. Right wing back, yeah, that is right. Right wing back for Marseille, a 7.6 out of 10, almost a great FOTMOB rating. He actually won about half of his duels. I forgot to add that in. Created a couple chances as well from that right wing back spot. And then Patrick Agyemang, the last one for this last weekend, out of Little Rhodey, 79 minutes played in the championship, 1 goal scored, 7.4 out of 10 FOTMOB rating. So the Americans abroad were definitely in about every single game that they played. A couple players did not play due to injury, mainly Gio Reyna and Anthony Robinson, but nonetheless, they are still killing it over there.
Yeah, and they're still giving us a look at maybe who we should expect and who we should consider in all this. And I know that there are more eyeballs on American players right now from an American media perspective for the obvious reason that we have the 2026 World Cup coming up, right? So that's why we do these roundups. That's why we look at these things. That's why Tanner Tessman is getting a look right now, because there are so many eyes on just American players in who might fit and who might be the best options, because I feel like our pick of the litter now versus where we were in 2022 is really night and day. And it's because we talked about a lot of those players who were really young in that 22 World Cup are now kind of advancing into the veteran years of their careers over in Europe. And so now how do we fill out the rest of it? And so there are a lot of players who are giving us a better understanding. And you talked about Joe Scally should 100% be in that mix. And I thought you made a really good, convincing argument. Today I wanted to talk about 2 players in particular. First, I want to talk about the 18-year-old. Noah Kai Banks was born in Hawaii, moved to Germany very early on in his career. So he actually came up in Germany. He was a part of the academies, I believe, at 12 years old was when he started playing in the academies. And then obviously came up through the system and is now playing in the Bundesliga, the top league in Germany. These numbers, when I look at the game that he had recently, I don't know if they necessarily pop off the page. You saw the rating that he had. I mean, up over 7, yes. 31 of 35 passing, and a couple long balls, 2 interceptions, 4 recoveries. I mean, he was involved in everything. He's a center back. But the thing that impresses me the most, and it's why it's so important to actually watch players play, even for our jobs, like if we're going to give our honest interpretation or breakdown of what we see out of certain players, like we actually have to watch them play. Like it's one thing, I'll watch Michael Jordan highlights, but I never actually got to see Michael Jordan play in person. I'll watch LeBron highlights. I never really got to see what LeBron play in person. I can give my best take, but the people who have probably the best takes are the ones who have tickets and get to see these guys play. When it comes to Noah Kai Banks, I actually went out of my way to watch as much as I could on the kid. And I got to tell you, Ryan, the way he moves, the way he plays, his creativity with the ball, his length, his touch, just the way he floats, it's almost like he kind of glides. He doesn't run. And this is a kid that's 18 years old and physically, from a projectability perspective, is already probably much further along than even Christian Pulisic was at 18 years old. Now, is he as skilled as Pulisic? I'm saying physical projectability.
Okay.
I'm not saying skill-wise. Okay, that's a very different conversation. But projectability-wise, right? Physically speaking, there's a lot to love about Noah Kai Banks. And I even sent this to you when we had our group text. I sent American in all caps, and then I sent 18 years old in all caps, and Bundesliga in all caps. Like, that is freaking bizarre to me. At 18, I mean, he's doing stuff at that young of an age that we haven't really seen since someone like Christian Pulisic. So, my question is, Ryan Glinsky, is Noah Kai Banks the future?
I mean, I sure hope so. I mean, based on what you said and the stats, again, I didn't really watch Noah Kai Banks at all play in that game. I didn't watch any film after the fact. I just kind of saw the goal, but I also just searched up kind of his progression. In 2015, he started in the Augsburg Youth Academy at the under 10 level, and then in last year, or actually 2 years ago, at the age of 17.
Oh, so he was young. He wasn't 12. He was way younger than that. He was under 10.
Yeah, 2015.
Wow.
So he would have been 8 actually. So
wow,
that's crazy.
I stand corrected then. All right, a little bit earlier than that.
2 seasons ago, he was playing for the U19 team at the age of 17 and the professional reserve team. So at 17, he's doing that. And again, a lot of those Bundesliga teams and a lot of the Spanish teams kind of have a second team that still competes in the tiers of that country. They just can't get promoted into the top league where their main club, the first team is. So again, 17 years old, playing in a professional reserve U19 or a U19 team. And then last January, or this past January 2025, makes his senior debut, and then this past June, so just a couple months ago, he signs a long-term contract extension until 2029. So Banks, I don't think he's definitely the future. I wouldn't say he's the future just quite yet, but he's definitely on that projectile, as you mentioned, that he's definitely on that path. And thinking about it, one of the big holes or question marks about this U.S. men's national team going forward is who are you going to pair up with Chris Richards? Is it a Mark McKenzie? Is it a Miles Robinson? Is it a Tim Ream? I'm not saying Noah Kai Banks is going to be starting for the U.S. at the World Cup. I'm not saying that at all. However, if we get into 2030, Chris Richards will then be 29 at that point. 29, 30, depends on the birthday. I think he'd be 29, or I think he'd be 30 actually. And then Noah Kai Banks, again, don't know what his birthday would be, but he could be 23, 24 years old. And if Noah Kai Banks continues to make those steps and continues to grow as a player, continue to fly up the ranks in European soccer, again, I don't think at that point, if he's really good, he will not be playing for Augsburg FC. He would not be. He'd be at a much bigger club. But if he continues to do that, that could be your future center back partnership for the 2030 World Cup. I don't want to be, overlooking the 2026 World Cup because that's coming up. But in 2030, that could definitely be a future center back partnership between Chris Richards and Noah Kai Banks.
And I think it really should be if he continues to produce at the level that he is. And it's just interesting because the same thing was said, and I remember when Max Doman made his debut for Arsenal at
Stud.
15 years old. I mean, just unbelievable. I mean, we had a we had a laugh about that on the show. Like,
He's a stud, man.
I'm on the
Still is at
doorstep of
15.
30 years old, literally half my age, playing in the Premier League. Like, this isn't. What is the world now? I don't get it. You know, it used to be that I looked at athletes and I was like, wow, they're way older. I'll be there someday. No, that never happened. Now I'm talking into a microphone every morning. Look at me. But what I love about it is that he is so young and that he is being productive so early on. But does that lead to flame out at some point? Because sometimes we like to crown these kids so early because they begin their career so early, and then that level of success just isn't sustainable, right? So it's just one goal for him. And he's still got a lot to build on. He's still got a lot to prove, but we'll have to see if he can sustain that. But yeah, moving forward, like I said, if we're just talking about big steps forward and manifesting like we did to open the show, yeah, we got a few different things that the U.S. have done. Really, he's just 18, but we got to talk about the U20s coming up here shortly. But first, I want to get to the next part of our conversation. I just believe Noah Kai Banks, if he can continue to produce the way that he is, I think he'll be in the conversation. But
I do want to touch on that point real quick about burnout. I do believe that's something that's really real in terms of soccer. I think that's a really big thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking, again, I watch a ton of European soccer, and I look at a guy like Bukayo Saka, again, Arsenal fan, and just happen to see him all the time. And I always thought Arsenal and Arteta overused him at the age of like 18. And I don't know the exact age. He's probably like 24 or 25 at this point. Saka is right now. But again, he's coming off with just constant injuries left and right, just little small knocks every now and again. And I think that he's 24. So he's 24. He just turned 24.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I just think we overuse, not us personally, but I think the clubs overuse their players when they find something special at a young age. Again, I'm looking at Lamine Yamal here. What is he going to be in 3 or 4 years' time? Is he going to be constantly injured? Is he going to be out of it, or is he going to continue to progress? But again, I do think that is a great point that we do overuse some of these younger players.
Well, and you have to think about it from the perspective of the organization too. I mean, it looks good on them in order to put someone out there that is that young. I mean, it shows that they can produce, and so yeah, I thought it was interesting. Just to very quickly touch on this, and this again centers around Max Doman, who is 3 years younger than Noah Kai Banks. But I actually had a friend of mine that reached out after I posted about that because I'm like, this is amazing. And he goes, you know, he did play incredibly well in the best league in the world. The issue is that he will never see the field in a competitive game. I don't know if that's the same thing for Noah Kai Banks. We're talking about Max Doman here, but the same thing happened with Ethan Nwaneri. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, the actual youngest player to ever play for Arsenal, who looked good a few times and then was really never heard from again. Was that the player you were just referring to?
Yeah, so I'll go over it. Ethan Nwaneri, he made his debut at like 15 years old, and that was because they beat Southampton. They were beating Southampton like 4 or 5-0 or something. Arteta's like, you know what, let's get the guy out there for 5 to 10 minutes. Nwaneri did not play, so that year he didn't play again that year, and he didn't play again the year after. So when he was 16 and 17, he didn't play. I think he may have featured like once or twice in like a cup game or something like that I didn't care about. But now Nwaneri is definitely featuring a lot more. He's definitely an impact player off the bench. He's still only, I think, 19 or 20 years old, but he's still really, really good. And then I look at another player on Arsenal, Miles Lewis-Skelly, 18 years old, starting week in, week out. And Dalman, for example, he played against Leeds, so he played in a Premier League game already. I believe he played in the Carabao Cup as well, just a couple weeks ago. But again, with these kids like that, Arteta has really been careful with it. So he's not going to overplay them the way he had to do Emile Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, Martinelli back in the day, because he had to do that because the team sucked. And that was the best players that they had at the time. But when they have an established squad like that, they get massaged in a little bit less, or they get massaged in a little bit more, where they're not playing week in, week out. They might play one game a month, but they still train with the team, so they're still getting all those reps, and they're just not playing in competitive games right away like some teams do, and what we're seeing with Noah Kai Banks.
Yeah, well, we always want to crown the new thing. We always want to.
That is a big thing in our society, you know.
Yeah, we love it, and so that's kind of why I brought the question in today. So we'll see how he continues to produce. But again, the stress of you being crowned that early on can have an effect. So we'll see what happens. The other player I did want to ask about, Patrick Agyemang, obviously getting his first Derby County goal. You see Ryan put the graphic back on the screen there. So for Agyemang, 7.4 out of 10, pretty good. 79 minutes, 1 goal for Derby County. I reflected on this on social media just because I think it's a cool point. But to go from Little Rhodey, aka NCAA Division III, where he was initially, to Rhode Island, to now to the international team, and now playing over in the second, I believe in the championship.
Yes.
And scoring his first goal. That's an unbelievable journey, man. I mean, I realize that we have this D1 or bust mentality to us, but when it comes to the sport of soccer, I feel like it's so much different. I feel like the talent level is kind of dispersed throughout the levels, and you see that a ton. So the journey from T3 to doing that is absolutely incredible. But on the other end, I don't know if that necessarily makes him a more attractive option for the U.S. men's national team, only because we saw him during the Gold Cup. We've seen him slip up and not make the right decisions and not be able to finish. But my question is, because you were giving your breakdown of where he was, he's playing right wing back.
That was
number one. Is Patrick Agyemang. What's that?
That was Weah was playing right wing back. Agyemang was still striker.
Weah, my bad, different player. But for Agyemang in getting his first goal, does he still have a chance, in your mind, to make an argument to be on the World Cup roster for 2026? Or is it just too far gone at this point?
No, I wouldn't say it's out of the picture at all. I think he's definitely got a shot as a backup role. Like, if Balogun's not our striker come June, then we're screwed. Like, Balogun is our out-and-out starting striker. Like, that is already set in stone. It's more of that backup role, that high-impact guy off the bench. And I kind of see Agyemang in a role where he would come off the bench and to just USA's up a goal or two, and they're just trying to kill some clock. Like, that's what I see Agyemang as, is just holding up the play. Or if they want to play that style of Brandon where they get it up to Agyemang, he holds it up and he just distributes. He kind of plays as a I wouldn't say a false nine, but he kind of plays just as a distributing role from that striker position. But I don't think we'd ever be in a position to do that unless we're playing like in the Gold Cup against Guatemala or anything like that. But going back to that Gold Cup, Agyemang did not impress me at all. Like, he didn't. He just seemed he seemed clumsy. He seemed like he was tripping over the ball a lot, it felt. But again, Agyemang is kind of in the discussion of a Josh Sargent, a Haji Wright, and Agyemang. So there's three as those backup strikers. And it's funny enough, all three of them play in the championship. I think that's really funny. That's kind of an easy marker to judge them all off of, is because they're all playing in the same league. Josh Sargent obviously more goals, and Haji Wright in second with the second amount of goals than Agyemang. But I don't think he's definitely out of the picture yet. But in terms of starting, Agyemang's completely out of the starting role position. But to make this team, he's not out at all.
Yeah, and it kind of creates this gray area too, because you talked about Flo Balogun, like, he's our guy, obviously. But how do you sort out the rest of them? So that'll be the big conversation in my mind. And I like Patrick Agyemang. I got no problems with the dude personally, but does he give himself the best opportunity to be in that position? I think it's awesome what he's doing regardless. Before we get to break, we got one more element of this conversation we have to get to. We got a little conspiracy, or at least a little conspiracy that we're cooking up, because that's what we do in sports media. What do we got here, Ryan?
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a conspiracy, and this is not about any player. Oh, we did mention one of the players, actually, because he did play. But yeah, a little USA men's national team conspiracy, and I'm talking about the outside back. Serginho Dest was left off the October camp because of an injury, yet he played 73 minutes this past weekend for PSV. Anthony Robinson was put on the October roster because he was healthy. However, Fulham didn't play him because he wasn't healthy. So something's not adding up here. Obviously, I think both players should be on the World Cup roster. We're not saying one should be in over the other. But this seems a little fishy. I mean, one player in Serginho Dest is left off because of an injury, yet he's still playing 73 solid minutes. And Anthony Robinson, who I really like, and I know you really like, he's kind of the missing pieces you've mentioned for this team going forward. But he's supposed to be healthy because we brought him on, but he's not healthy according to his club. So what am I missing here?
What is going on? I want to talk about Anthony Robinson really quick. I don't know if it's healthy. What I will say is he in the shape he needs to be in order to play and be productive? Like when you come back off of knee injuries, or there are certain injuries or certain ailments where you can still kind of stay in shape, where maybe the rehab process will get you back pretty quickly and you can keep your heart and your lungs and everything else where it needs to be. When it comes to knee injuries, the rehab process is the toughest part. And you're not going to be running around and really working out a whole ton if your knee's not working properly, right? Like the knee holds everything together. Like that's the powerhouse of the body. You can't do anything without your knees. You can't do anything without your back. So my question is, when it comes to Anthony Robinson, is this a product of he's not, quote, ready to play because of the knee? Or is he just not in playing shape yet? Which makes me wonder exactly how much are we going to see him in this international window? I mean, are we going to see maybe just a few minutes out of him? Are we going to see the most productive Anthony Robinson we've ever seen? Like I said, coming back off of a knee injury is a scary thing. That's not just an easy thing. You don't just pop back in and all of a sudden you're ready to go. Something tells me is that just physically, maybe he's not in the best shape. And maybe that's why the club didn't play him. But it brings up the question of what does he do during the international window? How much does Poach actually have to be able to use Jedi? Because where is his fitness at right now? I can understand that. I mean, that to me is like, I feel like there's a logical explanation on the side of Anthony Robinson where I don't believe that's as much of a conspiracy. I just don't know if he's back into playing shape quite yet. The other side of it, when we talk about Dest, part of me believes that there are separate conversations, and I know that there are, that go on within the U.S. men's national team between Mauricio Pochettino and these players. And maybe the conversation is just like, hey, we know what we're getting out of you. Right? We know that you are going to be a starter on this team in the World Cup. Right? Like there's no world in which Sergiño Dest is not in that 11. Right? Am I wrong in saying that?
No,
like
you're not.
I don't believe I'm wrong in saying that. So
barring injury, he'll be on the roster.
Yeah. And so maybe the conversation with Mauricio Pochettino went like, hey, we need to try out a few other dudes in whatever spot this is. And so we don't really need you for this window. So, but you can't really put that in a press release. Like, hey, we don't really need him. We're going to try out this, that. So he's good. And he's going to go do his own thing. You can't really put that in a press release. Like, you have to have a reason as to why someone isn't on the team. Like, there has to be an actual listed professional reason. So I don't know if this like roster manipulation. I don't know if that's the direction I'm going with this. Like, they put that he's injured and he's not really injured. But to me, in a way, and maybe it's just because I'm not digging as deep as I should. Maybe some people are digging deeper on this. To me, it just seems like a formality. Oh, he's hurt. He can't play. Whatever. Move on. That's kind of the way that I look at it. Because, again, there's no way in my mind that he's just not in that starting 11. So I would hope that this is just simply merely a formality. I don't know where you fall on this.
So I did a little bit of research while you were going. All right.
While I was blabbing.
Yeah, while you were yapping. But so Sergiño Dest, Pochettino said that he's allowing Dest to have individualized training while he recovers from an injury. Again, still doesn't make sense to me at all because
he's playing over 70 minutes. Yeah, exactly.
If he's recovering from an injury, then he would have played 20 minutes. He would have played 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And he would not have, and Dest would not have continued to play for PSV. He wouldn't have been able to do that. And for Anthony Robinson, Fulham said the same thing. He's just recovering from a knee surgery. Like, he was actually on the bench, but he didn't play. Like, they were saying that he's got a knee injury. We're not playing him. But that doesn't make sense to me because is this Anthony Robinson's rehab assignment? Is he just going to be rehabbing this whole time when he's with the U.S. men's national team? Is this going to be his first minutes where he just plays 10 to 15 minutes a game? And if that's the case, I wouldn't have even had him on the roster. Like, if the World Cup was not going on this upcoming summer, then I would have brought him on just so he can recover and get back to fitness in time for Fulham. But we have the World Cup going on. I'm not bringing him on. Because I'm going to try out somebody else. I'm going to give them another shot. And Antonee Robinson, we know that you're going to be on the roster, but just recover on your own. Let's not have you make that flight across the pond to get over here. Just stay over there. Just stay over in England. Continue your rehab. Continue to get better. And then by the time that you're ready in November, we'll bring you back on. In March, you're still healthy. We'll bring you back. But I feel like this is just kind of a wasted roster spot right now. Yeah. If he's not going to, again, he could come out and play 90 minutes against Australia or whatever it is. He could absolutely we could be completely wrong. But I'm not starting a guy that's hurt, or I'm not bringing a guy on that's a rehab assignment. I'm not doing that. We get the World Cup coming up. And we have so many limited games and limited camps together. I'm not doing that at all. I don't know where you're at with that, but I'm not bringing on an injured player, so this is his rehab.
I guess to that point, like, why would we do that for one player but not do it for the other? Like, I guess,
exactly.
What are we doing here? So again, I hope they prove me wrong. I hope that he's able to he feels good and he's ready to go out and perform against Australia, because I want to see what he can do. And we just haven't seen him in a U.S. men's national team uniform in a long, long time. So, but that is weird. And that is, again, that creates a little bit of gray area, and it makes me wonder a little bit. But, that's kind of where we are right now. Again, this is a situation where both guys are on the starting 11. Like, there's no world in which both guys, Dest as well.
They're both on the starting 11.
Yeah, exactly. They both are. So why was it made this decision? I don't know. Like I said, I think there's these separate conversations, and I think they're going to tell the media some things, but maybe not tell the media all the things. So, but that's a look at our roundup. American players across the pond. Noah Kai Banks, is he the future? Is he not? We'll let you guys decide that. Patrick Agyemang getting his first goal, and then obviously Dest and Robinson. I'm hoping that Jedi is healthy. That's what we want to see is a healthy Jedi. What's up?
Let me add one more thing. So the Pulisic and McKennie playing against each other. I don't know if you've seen the videos.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, that was great. Didn't Pulisic get nutmegged?
Yes, McKennie nutmegged Pulisic. I thought that was great. And then Pulisic, of course, missing the PK. But McKennie was putting Pulisic in spin cycles a couple times in that game. I know we didn't touch on that AC Milan-Juventus game as much as we did, but outside of the missed PK, neither player really did much, and then that nutmeg. But no, that's great to see. I mean, I don't know how you would feel, but you're coming back into a USA camp, and you're like, dude, I put you in spin cycles. Like, you couldn't defend me at all. I know there's going to be a couple words, I'm sure, but I just found that interesting. Just the McKennie just toying with Pulisic.
Yeah, I think it creates a little competition, and I think it's cool that I don't know. He got that one up on the captain. He's also going to troll the heck out of him for missing that PK too. Just know, I mean, that video might be on repeat going forward in that camp. So, but coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit about the USA U20s. Yeah, they created a lot of buzz with their win over France. Lost their last matchup, but again, just trying to stay fresh for Italy. Going to get Ryan's take on that, and then we're going to come back. Our question of the day: break out your pocketbooks. It's time for the World Cup, and not all of us can afford to go. We'll talk about that coming up next. This is Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
and start watching today.
Episode 174 of Inside the Game rolls along. Welcome back in, everybody. Segment 3 here on Inside the Game. No Jonathan Turner today. Expecting him to join us back tomorrow for Inside the Game. Again, next week. No live episodes, but we will be rerunning a lot of our coaches' interviews. I know. R.I.P. R.I.P. But hey, check out the NISA Cup. I mean, it's like a podcast, but there happens to be a soccer game going on at the same time. So you get both. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hopefully I can call a game with you. I don't know. I'm assuming I'm going to be down there at the same time that you are. So
yeah, that'd be fun.
The Glinsky-Wangler combination. I don't know, man. Been looking forward to it. But moving on here into segment 3, I wanted to talk a little bit about the USMNT U20 team. Secured first place in Group E in the FIFA Under-20 World Cup despite a 2-1 loss to South Africa in their group stage finale on Sunday. They will face Italy next Thursday, October the 9th, in the round of 16 matchup. We're officially into elimination stages, and obviously the big storyline when it comes to this team, and we didn't talk nearly as much about it, but it was a 3-0 win over France in that tournament. Now, obviously getting ready to take on Italy in the round of 16, and I think when we talk about the U.S. men's national team, or we talk about soccer in America, we're going to talk about the youth game coming up tomorrow, and I think that's a really important conversation. You had a couple of quotes that you had pulled up yesterday that are really, people are starting to wake up to exactly what soccer is in the U.S., which in a lot of ways can be a money grab. It's so much a business that you struggle to see it as a sport sometimes, and that really doesn't work out in terms of locating and earmarking the best talent that there is and getting kids involved in the game. Like, we need to continue to make the sport more accessible if we want to have a chance to compete with any of the major countries. But if we want to talk about taking steps forward, these are the types of things, these are the types of singular events where you're like, you almost want to save that one, put a bookmark on that one, because this is another moment that we can look at and go, okay, like, we're getting there. Like, slowly but surely, we are getting there. And the US U20s beating France the way that they did, that 3-0 win was another big step that direction. What's your takeaway just in general from what you've seen out of this team? And I know your dad made a good point the other day about if they're worth anything at 20 years old, they're probably not playing on the team. But I still think it's important to mention that they went out and they beat France. I mean, that to me seems significant in the long run. What's your takeaway from what those boys have done?
My takeaway is it's another tournament with each other. It's another tournament where these guys get to mesh together as a group. They get World Cup experience. Obviously, it's not the main thing, but like, I remember an argument that a couple of years ago when, we didn't qualify for the 2020 Olympics or whatever it was, and Taylor Twellman said it right. He's like, dude, they won it's another tournament with the guys. Like, it's another chance to see the U.S. on the world stage, how we stack against the world on a world stage, and it's just it's more games for our country, for our players to play with each other, because I'm sure some of these players, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm sure maybe 2 or 3, maybe even 4 will have a shot at the men's senior team at some point down the line. Like, that is just the realism of it. And say what you want, they beat New Caledonia 9-1. That doesn't matter. They lose to South Africa. That doesn't matter. But even France's B team of U20 20 players are good players, regardless of what you want to say about it or not. And if you can say, oh, well, the France players, if they're good enough, they're not playing right now. Yeah, but we can also say from the USA standpoint that a ton of our best U20 players aren't in it as well. Noah Kai Banks, where's he playing right now? He's in Augsburg right now. He's playing. Yep. And then I look at a guy like Matthias Albert at Dortmund, 17 years old. He's supposed to be our next upcoming star. He's not in the tournament. We have Daniel Koshin, who is our Barcelona goalkeeper. Again, goalies are a little different because their primes are further down the line than a field player is. But Koshin, he was supposed to be on this roster. He travels with the team, and 2-3 days before their first game against New Caledonia, Barcelona recalls him, like, hey, we need you. We need an emergency goalie. So, again, you can make the argument that, oh, well, France's best players aren't out there. Yeah, you could say the same thing about the U.S.'s. The U.S. best U20 players aren't out there as well, but as a nation, we get to judge ourselves on the world stage another time. We get to see where we're at, and then for these players that are out there, Pochettino can then look at these guys and be like, I like this guy's game. I like this guy's game. Well, he's got to work on this. I don't really like him. It just gives it an opportunity to see them together another time. And again, if we win the whole thing, amazing. If we don't, it doesn't really matter, but we get to see what players we can use down the line and which players we don't.
And showing a lot of promise, too. Keep in mind, there was an own goal in that game for the U.S. men's national team, the U20 team.
So, like 85th or something.
Yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the foot on that one. But there's still a lot of potential with this team. It's not the first time they've ever advanced. This is the 13th time the U.S. has advanced from the group stage of the U20 World Cup. This marks the 6th time that the Americans have done this as group winners. So they have been to this point before. But again, we'll see exactly what they're able to show moving forward, because I liked everything that you said. I mean, it gives us a really good understanding. And I said it jokingly the other day, but I'm like, hey, look out for 2030, look out for 2034. And I was like half joking, but I was also kind of serious. I don't mean to pass up on 2026. It's still very important. But what those guys are showing right now, and all those names you just listed, which was great, all of them are going to have a massive impact on down the line, and it means something. And if they beat Italy in their next game, it's going to mean something more. I mean, I really think there is an avenue for this team to not just get to the semis, but maybe go do the damn thing. Yeah. So that's a look at the U20 team. Coming up next, the World Cup is coming to the U.S., and we have had many conversations about what that's going to look like and maybe the opportunity to go see a game, because, again, it is once in a lifetime that you get to go see a World Cup game in person. But first, I have to win the lottery. More on that coming up next on Inside the Game.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
we ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today.
Call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast
and let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Final segment here on episode 174 of Inside the Game. Nate Wengler. Oh, boy. Coffee settling in. You like that voice crack? Nate Wengler, Ryan Klinsky. I'm still going through it, man. Ever since middle school, it still, flutters a little bit. Jonathan Turner joining us back tomorrow. Going into our last segment, Ryan, normally we leave question of the day as the very last thing on our list, which is the second to last. It's the penultimate thing. But, our question of the day, we're going to get right to it, because I do think it is an interesting one, and I do have an answer, because I thought about this yesterday, exactly how much I would be comfortable doing. Go ahead. What's our question of the day?
But before we get to question of the day, Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. Scan that QR code or visit saltathletic.com today. But how much would you spend on a World Cup ticket is question of the day. How much would you spend on a World Cup ticket? Because they're expensive.
All right. So, World Cup. This answer has obviously changed. I've gotten a little bit older now. A little bit more financial independence, I'm sure. Oh, goodness. You already threw it up on the screen. All right. I was going to say like $1,000 to maybe $1,500. But
that wouldn't even matter.
Are you serious? Well, so my question, how much are you willing to spend on a World Cup ticket?
So that is just the final. So those numbers are just the final, just for the final. But I did search up, what's like a group stage cost, and that's $410 to $620, for like the lower bowl.
Okay.
And the highest one, some are starting at like $100. So it kind of depends where you go. But a big thing that matters is, where do you want to go? Like, again, a lot of different cities. You could go to Canada. You can go to Mexico. You can stay right here in the United States. Do you want to go to New York? Do you want to go to Florida? Do you want to go to Kansas City? Do you want to go to California? Do you want? So that all depends.
Mexico City?
What?
You want to go to Mexico City?
Yeah, it all depends on that. But again,
right.
let's narrow this, because that graphic doesn't do this justice. That's just strictly the final. I can pull that up again real quick. The final, I mean, these tickets are going for like tens of thousands of dollars. And like
group stage games range a couple $100 up to $25,000. So
some people are going to spend like
I'm just saying my $1,000 would get me into a couple of group stage games. So I think I'm well within my reach there. Now, the only issue is if we're talking about American venues, other things that come with it, right? And that's the thing about ticket prices in 2025. Like the ticket itself is one thing. Like I remember going to the Cubs this summer. It was $85 just for the ticket. This is like all the way in the back, top row. That's not bad for Wrigley. That's not. I mean, unless you're going to go down and scout, and then they can be like, we'll sit you in this fire escape for, I don't know, $50, whatever. But like everything else that comes with that, especially at American venues, like the beer, the parking, everything else, transportation, like I might be able to squeeze one out of my budget. That's what I'm saying. I might be able to squeeze one, but that's about all I got. I got my ticket. I'm not getting yours. I'm just saying. So you're on your own for you're on your own for that one. Good luck.
It. How much would I spend on a ticket?
I mean, just the ticket alone, right? So we're not even talking about all the other
factoring in anything else. Again, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that itself makes it a lot harder than the rest of the conversation.
Again, I think it depends on what countries I'm seeing play.
Okay.
And where I'm going, but I mean, I could see myself spending $1,500 to $2,000. I could see myself doing that. Again, but you gotta $2,000 is pushing it. I really think. I think more like $1,500 is where I would stop. Kind of what you said. But again, you got to factor in hotel. You got to factor in, because we're gonna go to a bar. Like, you got to go to a bar and get a couple drinks, maybe some food. I personally do not spend $1 inside the stadium. The moment that I spend my ticket and I walk in, I'm spending $0. However, I do have an exception: a souvenir golf ball that I have for my collection. That's the only other time I'm spending money. Is $5 on a golf ball. Souvenir golf ball of the stadium or whatever team that I'm going to see. That's my only exception. Wait, but other than that,
you get golf balls?
Yeah, I get souvenir.
That's your
golf
souvenir
balls.
item? That's great. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I have a
everybody goes for t-shirts. You're going for golf balls?
Yeah, that's my collections. I collect souvenir golf balls of wherever I go.
That's great. All right.
I don't have a Tigers one, which is funny. Which is really funny to me.
It's got to be one of the shots, man. But anyways, go ahead.
The moment I step foot into a stadium, I'm not spending money on food because I already ate outside the stadium. I don't mind walking a mile or so because I saved like $40 on parking. I'm going to spend $10 on parking. And then after that, the only other thing I think I would spend is a water. Outside of that, I'm not spending on beer because, again, that's too – spending a tall boy Miller Lite is like $15 at Comerica Park, and I just spent that one time.
You got to get warmed up. You got to get warmed up before you come in. No,
yeah,
100%.
I'm doing all of my spending before I walk into the stadium because the moment I walk into the stadium, the prices skyrocket. I'm not doing that. So the moment I get into the game, I'm not spending money on food. I'm not spending money on beer. I'm spending strictly on a water and a golf ball if they have it. Other than that, I'm not spending a thing because I think that is just a waste of money. Why would I spend $10 on a hot dog when I could have just bought it at a cart outside of the stadium for $2? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when the vendor guy comes walking down the aisle yelling at you about Bud Light, Miller Lite, I mean, are you going to be able to still withstand and not?
Oh yeah, that doesn't bother me at all.
No? Okay. I've gotten comfortable with vendors. I was never really a vendor guy, but, went to Chicago, went to Detroit this year, and I didn't really know how the process worked. It was funny. I just kind of stood up and, raised my hand, and the vendor just kind of, waved at me. It's like, me, I want one of what you got, please. Thank you.
If you were to spend money on food in a stadium, I know we got a couple minutes here.
Food would not be the issue for me,
But what would you spend the money on for food wise? What would you actually buy?
Oh, pubs. A pub, yeah. No, 100%. It's something somewhat nearby. Again, I'm okay with a couple mile walk. I got no issue walking to where we got to get to go. But no, probably a pub somewhere. And I'm talking something big, like a big burger, fries, all the works. Because the truth is
$30
you got
in the stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got to fill up too, right? Because you realize that the rest of the day is probably going to be filled with nothing but fluids. So you got to make sure that you're ready. You're ready, mentally, physically, all those things. So, anyways, to you guys back home, how much would you spend on a World Cup match? And again, depending on the match,
we got a couple minutes here to kill.
We do. All right.
What if again? If money was not a factor and location, all right, let's just throw money out of the equation. Money's not a factor. You can afford everything. You can come back to Michigan and you're fine. This does not matter to you whatsoever. What is your dream matchup in the World Cup? What two countries do you want to see play each other? Again, let's not say final or group stage or knockout. Just two countries that you want to see, and where do you want to see it at?
England and France.
Okay.
Would probably be my ultimate go-to matchup. Now, obviously, I want to see the U.S. men's national team. I think the U.S. and Mexico, either group stage, knockout stage, whatever it is, I think would be the experience. But I'm going to go with England and France. Where I would want to see it? How about Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta?
Okay.
How about that? Yeah, I'll probably go with Atlanta on this one. I'm trying to think of what other venues are set because they're having games at SoFi too, right?
Yeah. Again, it does not matter where in the country you want to see.
I'm gonna go Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, England against France.
You could have said Vermont.
Where the Vermont Green play.
Yeah, you could have said that. My matchup would be, I would like to see England as well, but I would want to also see Spain. I want to see England play Spain, and where I would want to see them, I want to see them in Charlotte. I've ever since we drove past Charlotte on our way to South Carolina a couple summers ago, I've always wanted to check out Charlotte. It seems like a really up-and-coming city. It seems beautiful. Seems like there's a lot of things to do. So I would just want to check out Charlotte itself. But I'm getting the joy of watching Spain play. It's fantastic, the style that they play. And then I get a chance to watch all my Arsenal guys on England. Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka. Ben White's thrown out of there now, so he doesn't play in that anymore. But even Madueke is in there now. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Winery, maybe Max Dowman makes it at 15. But no, I get to see all my Arsenal guys I get to see all my Arsenal guys, and I get to see Spain, who I really want to see just while they play, and I get to go check out Charlotte, a city that I want to see. That's what I want. That's what my dream situation is.
My biggest reason for me why I want to see England and France is just because simply the history between the two countries. Like, I'm a history dork. So, I mean, that's, just the hatred is there. Like, it's just this extra little bit of just, so that's what I would, because the fans would be absolutely, the atmosphere would just be absolutely off the chain. So, plus you get to see Mbappe too. So that'd be nice. That'd be a nice little touch. So, but that's a look. Episode 174 of Inside the Game is a wrap. Again, a big thank you to everybody who joined us on today's show. Coming up tomorrow, 175. We got a couple of really good quotes. We're going to talk a lot about the youth game coming up tomorrow. I know we haven't really been focused on that as much. We've been talking a lot of college, U.S. men's national team, pathway to pro, which I guess technically is the youth game. But we're talking about some of the little tykes. We're also going to talk about some other things as it pertains to American soccer when JT joins us for episode 175. But for now, a huge thank you to everybody who joined us on 174. I'm Nate Wangler. That's Ryan Glinsky. Make sure you like, subscribe. Again, we are on all social media platforms. Just look us up, National Soccer Network, link in bio for Inside the Game. And again, we'll be looking to bring some more coaches on. Once the NISA Pro Cup is done, we'll continue business as usual, but we'll give you guys some reruns of the best of those conversations on Inside the Game coming up next week. But from Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky, number 175 coming up tomorrow. And until we talk to you guys then, so long, everybody.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.